see, that is data JPA. And web dependency we added only for H2 console. We are not doing any web programming, only for H2 console. Lombok is to generate the setters and getters here. Now, these are the properties you can see. Okay, this is the model class. Okay, and this is the repository interface. We have to write one interface that extends CRUD repository. Okay, today these operations only we see here. Then we have to write one runner here. Okay, this runner we'll see one by one from the beginning here. Look at carefully. Okay, this runner only, just I'm showing from the beginning, concentrate. Okay, now look at here. We have different repositories. First, we are highlighting CRUD repository. Okay, understand the concept of repository interfaces. Okay, now that we are working here, the first one is actually CRUD repository. Yeah. Okay, so what are these repository interfaces are going to do here? Do you want to perform any database operation? Okay, then use the repository interface. Okay, repository is the interface here. It says I have multiple implementations. Okay, the first one is actually CRUD repository. Okay, it takes two inputs, model class and primary key data type. ID indicates primary key data type. Okay, if you go to employee class, okay, if you look at this variable, okay, not EMP ID, integer is ID. Okay, if you look at here, integer is ID, data type. Okay, here we have different methods. First method is save. Okay, next method is save all. Next method is find by ID. Next method is exist by ID. Find all. Okay, find all by ID. Count. These methods we are going to access. You no need to write any logic. Okay, if you want to see its implementation here, just press function key 4. Select this one and press function key 4. There you can see one implementation here. Okay, simple JPA repository. Okay, do you want to see any method logic? Save method is there, how it internally works. Okay, a simple shortcut I'm showing here, control plus mouse over here, control button. Okay, open implementation, control mouse over open implementation. You can see the logic. Okay, this is an entity manager, EM nothing but entity manager, you can see. Okay, if you worked on Hibernate, it is a session factory, it's a session. Okay, in case of JP, it's the entity manager. Okay, now let us just see this one. Observe here, repository interfaces. So these are provided by Spring Data. Use it to perform database operations. Okay, you want to perform database operations, use this. Okay, no need of writing IMPL classes. Just to define your interface with the details like T, nothing but your model class or entity class, whatever you call here, ID, primary key data type. Okay, ID indicates primary key data type. Okay, in that first one we are discussing CRUD repository interface methods. One by one we are discussing here. Okay, so here there's a CRUD repository interface methods we are discussing. Now look at here. CRUD repository methods. The first method is save. Okay, which takes yes, they mentioned here, and that's returning the yes extends T. A simplified format I'm just giving here. Yes takes the object and returns the same object. For your understanding, method name is save. You give your object of t, okay, and that returns the object, a simplified format. Okay, this is the first method. Okay, now look at method name is save. Okay, so you may think something like it is actually insert. Not only insert, it behaves like even update. Okay, it's like a two-in-one method here. Okay, observe. Either insert or update. Okay, this method behaves like a insert or update. Okay, how it will insert or update? It will take one object as an input, model class object as an input. Your model class is there, right? That model class object, it will take input from this object. Okay, in this object we'll be having id, name, salary, like that. Okay, it will take only id. First of all, it will ask, okay, is this null, or is this record exist in database or not exist. If it is null or not exist, insert. Okay, so if it is null or not exist, insert. If it is exist, okay, update. It is going to do like that here. Okay, check with the database table. If exist, then update. Even if id is null also, then insert. Okay, let me show one small example here. Concentrate. I'll show one small example here. Look at. This is database table I'm just taking here. Consider something like EMP tab. Some data I'm just providing. Just look at. Inserting some data. This is Java object. Some EMP I'm just taking here. EMP ID 12, EMP name C, EMP cell. Like this, I wrote one object. I created one object here. Now there, just consider I'm just calling a method called save and passing this EMP. Look at, I'm just calling the save method. First, what this method will do, okay, it will read this primary key here. It will read this primary key. Is 12 exist in this table or not? Is record number 12 exist in this table or not? That's actually checking. Okay, how it is going to check? By using a select SQL query. select some data from table emp tab, okay, where eid is equals to 12. Like that. First, what query executed by save method is select query. Observe carefully. Observe carefully. We are calling save method, right? So that is first executed select query. Okay. Read primary key and check in the table. Okay. Now it may return exist or not exist. If we ask here, is record exist or not? We are just going to ask here. Okay. So of course it you may directly say no here, but so just it may give a possibility of yes or no. Record exist or not exist. Okay. Of course it may be yes or no. Record exist, no. Record not exist, yes. If record not exist here, then it is going to execute internal query insert into. That's nothing but insert operation is done. Okay. Else update table set, like that executed. Okay. I hope you understood this one. First of all, it is going to execute the select query. Okay. Based on the select query result, it is going to execute either insert or update method. If you look at here. Okay. So this is a workflow of save method. Okay. So here, this is a code here. Now let me show the same thing here. Observe carefully. This is a save method workflow. Okay. Now let us just come to here repository and write runner here. Same existed application only I'm just using. These are the properties, model class, repository, and runner. Now let me write here repo.save. Okay, if we just come to employee, let me insert one record here. Directly I'm writing here new employee. ID 10, name A, and salary 3.3. Like this I wrote. Okay, ID 11 I wrote, and B 4.3. Okay, now if you want, I'll just take only one line. Just observe here carefully. This is just sufficient. Save method. Okay, if you look at the save method here, okay, so there is a first time, just see, so far no data created, is an embedded database. Okay, it's a h2 database. So every time creates a new table, this record is not there. Even though it's not there, it doesn't mean that for us. Okay, so here whether it is data is there or not, first we have to check using this query. Now run this application. If you run this application here, look at here first what query is executed. Okay, drop the table and create the table, that's fine. Look at first what query executed here. You can see clearly. And checking what? Checking what? Select query is executed and checking the primary key. I hope you are able to see this. Okay, so finally, if it is exist, it is performing insert operation. If it's not exist, sorry, if it's not exist, it is performing insert operation. Okay, let us do one more thing. Let us just do one more thing. First time it's actually calling insert operation, fine. First it is executing select query, then it's performing insert operation. Let us just take same record number. Okay, data modified, just I'm writing 4.3. Okay, already 10 inserted. Let us do second time. What it will do, second time it will execute select query. Okay, so it says already 10 exists, so I'll perform the operation called update. I'll perform the operation called update. Let us see is that correct or not. Run this from beginning. First it is select and insert. It says port number already in use. Okay, close this termination and just stop this application. Run from beginning. Okay, first look at First two queries, if you look at here, first selecting the data and its record not exist, insert. Second, selecting the data, record already exists, so update. Okay, are you clear this operation, everyone? Understood, everyone? Okay, so method name is save, but behaves like either save or update. That's the point. Okay, so I hope you understood this diagrammatical flow. So this one, just I'm writing small example here. And one more point also there. One more point also there here. Okay, observe carefully. Look at carefully. Okay, save method even returns the same object type only. We had to come to that. We had to come to that point here in case of generated value. Now observe carefully. Here what I'm just trying to do. Here I'm passing these values, right? Okay. So here we are going to pass null later, not now. Null we are going to pass here. So later I'll show. Next example I'll show. In that case, ID will be generated. That generated object will be returned. Okay, we had to come to this return type here. Just wait for a second. Okay, this one had to come here as of now here. Okay, still save operation is not over. This return type and generated value we had to see. Okay, so I'm just giving example. This one, last point, and this return type is still not over. Look at. So this is example one model class. Already I gave this one just for code overview. I'm just giving. Second, repository interface. Third, runner class. Okay. Now the next question is how it is internally working. That's the question. Okay. Do you want to see the any logic internal here? Control button, mouse over. Control button and mouse over. Remember here, listen, control button. Just press control key. Keep this cursor on top of the method. Okay, just if you leave the mouse, that is control button, it will go away. Control button, just move the mouse on top of that method, open implementation. You see, it's an open implementation. This option, open implementation. Control button, mouse over and open implementation. Okay, when you just go to that option here, open implementation, see the logic. Okay, there is a class provided. There is a class provided like a generic class here. Simple JPA repository. There is a T and ID at runtime in the place of T. Okay, for this class, one subclass is created without any name that is called proxy. And in place of T, our employee is provided. In place of ID, our integer is provided. And there is a method save is actually called. Now look at is checking entity information dot is new. Okay, it's actually select query executed. It's actually select query executed. You can see here. It's actually select query is executed. Okay, em dot persist. Persist means save. Okay, persist means save. Okay, or em dot merge. Merge means update. It's a Hibernate code, sir. It's a Hibernate with JPA code. Okay, so if you have done already JPA or Hibernate sessions, okay, this is a code for you. Okay, if you did not do, leave it. Okay, no need of internals for you. Okay, if who already completed here. Okay, even transaction management also you can see here at the rate transactional. It is implicit transaction management applied. You need not to provide anything here. Okay, so here this is a method logic here. Save method internal code. Okay, observe carefully. There is a class name provided, simple JPA repository. Spring Data JPA has provided one class with IMPL code for all operations. Okay, save method logic is given. You can see here. Even transaction management also applied. You are need not to provide. Okay, look at the logic here. So first it's checking exist or not. Is new means exist or not. Persist means insert. Okay, merge means update. Okay, these are actually JPL logic here, hibernate with JPL logic. If you don't know hibernate with JPL logic, these methods you won't understand here. Okay, for you, no need. Directly if you are working on Spring Boot data JPA, okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, if you already completed hibernate sessions, okay, then you just worry about that. Okay, so here, if the one who actually completed, for them only it is actually transaction management. We are not, no need to add here, but if you want to know how it is working, I'll explain this one. Okay, see, not even logic we are writing. How can we write transactional code? Not even method, logic only we are writing. In Spring Boot, advantage is reducing the work of that one. Okay, so here, if you want, I'll explain Spring transaction management. Okay, in Spring Boot it's actually zero, sir. Code itself is zero. How can we write transactional? Okay, so Spring transaction management overview I'll give if you want, but in Spring Boot it's nothing. Observe carefully. Persist behaves like save, sorry, insert. Merge behaves like update. Okay, remember this one. Is new. Okay, same diagrammatically I just explained here. Okay, diagrammatically I just explained here, same thing. Okay, so did you attend Eclipse debugging, everyone? Eclipse debugging also I've just taken. Did you attend that, everyone? Okay, if you want, I'll show debugging mode also. For example, okay, simple JPA repository, there is a method called save. Okay, so here control shift B, create a breakpoint. You can see here at line number 553, control shift B, create a breakpoint. Okay, if you want, I'll show in the debug mode also. If you have doubts, sir, I don't believe you. Okay, how you say this method only called? I have doubt. Very simple, create a breakpoint. Okay, come here. Okay, stop this application. Right click, debug as Spring Boot application. This option, right click, F11 also, debug as Spring Boot application. You can see here, I'm just debugging this application. Okay, before that, I'm just creating one more breakpoint here. Okay, this line I'm just removing this. Okay, let it be for second calling also, it will be there. Okay, now I'm just going to debug. 2 times that method will be called. Spring Boot application debug as. Just to switch. Now this one, just I'm pressing F7 is okay, F8 also okay. Here I create a breakpoint. See, this is called simple JPA repository is called. Okay, so we are actually calling from our runner. See, this runner is actually internally creating one implementation class for simple JPA repository that is called proxy. Some number is actually coming here. Every time number will not be same. Okay, so it's actually creating one implementation for simple JPA repository. Okay, and at runtime finally it is calling simple JPA repository. Okay, What is the difference between proxy and simple JPA repository? Simple JPA repository is generic T. In place of T, employee will come and employee specific logic will come here. That is called proxy. Okay, see here, simple JPA repository is calling it. It's a thread flow. You can see it's actually employee test runner. This is a one. Now see, now look at here. Just go into method this one. If you want, you can check here true or false. Control Shift I. Okay, it's not getting executed. Okay, go into this one, F6. Okay, one is executed, I think it is. Okay, it's actually getting merged. No, first select query executed. F6. Okay, update only, correct. F8. Okay, it's done. So you can see here method is called. Just I'm stopping this one. Simple JPA repository logic. Okay, I kept second breakpoint. That's a problem. That's why it is called, that's update method. Here you can see. Okay, observe carefully here. If anybody did not finish Hibernate or Spring, okay, you might not be having the knowledge of transaction management. Okay, if that is the case, I'll try to take one extra session, mostly this Sunday, like that I'll take. But in Spring Boot, I'll just give overview only here. Okay, because some people might have already completed Hibernate and Spring, they'll come to Spring Boot actually. Okay, so if you don't know what is transaction, okay, what is commit and rollback, okay, what are transaction types, if you don't know all this, okay, the first point here, we don't write logic itself. Here we don't write logic itself here. Okay, so if we can't write logic, we can't write even transaction management also. Okay, if we have a logic, if we write our own logic in Spring, we write everything manually. There we apply transaction management also manually. But here it's everything is implicit. Okay, in simple, it's actually we are calling one method interface reference variable. We are not even writing implementation class and creating the object here. So if you don't know this, okay, not to worry, I'll try to take a separate session. Okay, so but here I won't touch. Okay, yeah, custom queries also, just we have to write one annotation only, sir. Here also custom queries also. Okay, that too only SQL non-select operation only we have to write. Okay, in Spring Boot, transactional only we write at 0.1% place only, because everything is implicit here. Okay, so if you want to learn manually, here we have to write either Hibernate program or Spring program. Here it is not possible. Okay, that's why I'm saying I'll take a separate session. Okay, I don't want to disturb others. Okay, I'll take it separate session. Now, so this is a first operation save completed here. Okay, with one more point we had to discuss here. Now observe carefully. So far, if you look at here, primary key we provided manually. No, I don't want to provide the primary key manually here. So then what we are going to do here, we are going to apply one annotation here, generated value. Generated value we can apply here. Okay, so in this case, generated value, it says ID will be generated automatically. You just take care of remaining inputs. Okay, you just take care of remaining inputs here. Okay, so ID this time we should not give. ID we should not give here. This time I'm just taking required args constructor. Okay, I just want to select only this two, at the rate non null and non null. Only two parameters constructor I'm just taking here. Look at carefully. This time ID I'm not going to provide. Okay, this time if you don't provide ID, it is actually null. Okay, it's actually null. Null means directly insert. No select, nothing here. If the primary key is null, is primary key null? Okay, yes. Then directly insert. Okay, directly insert here. Okay, null says no, no, no. I will not give this value. This will be generated. Okay, at the rate generated value. Okay, run this application here. Okay, now let us just run this application and see. Observe carefully here. One sequence is created here with the name hibernate underscore sequence, which will generate the numbers here. Okay, you can see here. It's calling the next value for sequence. Okay, inserting. There is no select query printed, you can see. There is no select query you can printed, you can see here. Directly it is actually creating the sequence and printing. Okay, so there's actually, there is a point here, null. You can just observe here. I just mentioned that. Even if ID is null, then insert. Okay, now what is the value inserted? I just want to know what is the primary key generated. I'm not giving, that's okay. I'm not giving, that's okay. But I just want to know here. Okay, at the rate ID is always mandatory. At the rate generated value, that's your interest. Okay, entity and ID mandatory. Remaining all based on your requirements. Okay, so here if you look at, I just want to know what is the generated value. Save method again returns the same object updated with ID. It will return the same object, same employee object, whatever you passed with updated of ID. Okay, even the second one, employee E2. Okay, you can just, if you want, print here, sysout E1 dot get ID, or you can print everything here, E2. Complete object also you can print. E2 means ID will come, B and this one, remaining data also will come here. Observe here. I'm just printing this one. Okay. Stop the application and start from beginning. Look at this. One is inserted here, two is inserted here. Okay, it's actually getting the sequence from hibernate sequence here. You can see. Observe carefully here. Okay. So understand here, save method returns the same object updated. Okay, with primary key value. Consider, okay, you are just passing one object here without any primary key value. And you are trying to do save, that is actually save operation here. Okay, if you look at here, EMP ID, you are not passing any value, it's actually null. Okay, then while performing save operation, it will take one service concept here. It will generate one primary key and insert. It's actually inserting a row in the database table. Okay, here a number generated 1, C, and 5.5. Like this, it is actually generated. Okay, so here, whatever the generated value is there here, 1, it will update back. It will update back here 1. Like the same object is returned. Save method again returns whatever the object that you are passing, same object will be returned back. Okay, with updated primary key here. With updated primary key. Okay, return type is useful when the primary key is generated, else not required here. Okay, second point here. If primary key value is null and at the rate generated value annotation is provided, then given object will be inserted into database table. Remember, given object will be inserted into database table. Okay, it won't be updated. Understand the point here, it won't be updated. And what this generated value will do? Okay, at the rate generated value will generate one primary key value only on save operation, only on insert operation. Okay, remember, it won't work on update or delete here, only on insert operation. It will generate one primary key value. Okay, so this is one generation concept here, generated value here. Observe carefully. So this is a sample code. If you look at, it's a model class. Just I'm giving here, and directly I'm just giving the runner. Repository same. It's a runner class. Okay, so this is one example here. Now this is save operation. Okay, so again we come to generated value annotation separately. While working with JP annotations, we come here. As of now, I'm working on methods only. I'm just explaining methods only. So we'll discuss even generated value. I want to generate my customized, my own generated. For example, Naresh IT dash, okay, some number here, dash 001, something I just want this format. Okay, so some date and time. I just want my own format like this. Okay, how to generate that will come to this later, because I'm just working on annotations methods concept. Once methods done, will come to annotations even. Okay, not to worry about that. Okay, at a time I can't show all. Even if I show also, you will not understand. So one by one we'll see. Now look at here. Can we insert null value into primary key column? Can we insert null value here? Very good. Just remember that point. Primary key can never be null or duplicated. If that is the case, you will get errors. Remember that point. Okay, primary key can never be a null value. Nulls not allowed here. Okay, this is a primary key. Okay, primary key will not accept no null, not null, and plus unique. Not null plus unique. Remember that one. Okay, now let us just continue here. Observe. So far, we discussed save operation. Okay, now let it be here. This I'm just simplifying instead of writing this much complex. I'm just inserting few records. Now concentrate here. Okay, repo.save. I'm just taking this logic, inserting few records here. Now, 3 records inserted. I want to fetch the data. Now, look at the next operation here. Okay, now see, I'm just writing one by one object inserting like this. Okay, now if you go to repository here, first method is save. Look at the method name, second one, it save all. Okay, save all. Just we are actually writing here. Save all is a method that is actually takes a iterable type. Okay, iterable type here. Okay, so you can observe here. Okay, you can just do bulk insert here. You can just do bulk insert here, iterable. Okay, so here, but the iterable is actually interface. Okay, it has different implementations here. All collections are type of iterable implementations only here. Okay, So if you want to insert multiple records here, that is also possible here. That is called bulk insert. Okay, just I'm writing it's a save all. Repo.save all, just we can call here. If you want to insert at a time multiple records. Okay, so here, but the type is actually iterable. Okay, iterable of employee, I'm just writing here. Okay, that's actually ITR, just I'm writing here. Okay, it's a just I'm writing, see, new list of like this. I'm just writing here new array list. Iterable is actually super type. It's an interface. That's actually it's a super type for all collections here. Okay, after JDK 1.5. Before JDK 1.5, there is actually collections only here. It's a new type. Okay, what I'm just doing, instead of just calling like this here, we can just use a concept of array list here, and we can just add, instead of writing repo.save here, just I'm writing itr.add, adding the data to this array list here. Just I'm writing like this. Okay, so creating multiple objects collection and just trying to do save operation. Okay, I'm just running this application and just concentrate here. Every time we have to stop the application. Okay, run this application here. Now look at insert query is just done. Okay, there is a method called save all, which behaves like a save only for every record internally. Okay, see the logic control here, you can see here. It's internally calling save method logic only, you see everyone. Save all internally calling here like this. And resultant data again returning the list representation. Okay, same logic, I'm just writing short format here. Okay, observe carefully. We can write something like arrays dot as a list. We can write in this format also here. Okay, let it be. First I'll make it normal code only. Just I'm creating a list of objects. Same we can write in this way. Like this. It's a short format of writing the logic here. Just run this application, output is same. Okay, see every time it is asking application to stop and start, right? I'll just give one small technique to do this. Okay, at last stop application, stop server. Okay, do you know how to stop the server? By using code servlets program. Do you remember? Our main thread execution, stop. Core Java also there. Okay, fine. System.exit of 0. System.exit of 0. Okay, if we did not see in core Java or advanced Java, that's fine here. Same logic here also. Okay, just remember to stop the server using programming, or to stop the main thread, whatever you just call here. Okay, now run this application. No need to stop the application again and again. Directly can run here. Automatically table also dropped. Now you can't see the console. You can't see the console now. Okay, see here, insert into EMP tab like this. Insert query is done. There is a method called save all. Observe, look at carefully. I won't repeat these methods again. There is a method save all, which takes actually iterable. means it's a collection type, and returns the same iterable with updated primary keys. This method takes collection of model class objects and performs insert or update operation based on primary key. Finally returns same object with affected primary key value. Okay. Logic, if you look at here, runner class logic. Okay, you can write either in this way or in this way. Anything is fine. It's a runner class code I'm just writing here. This is also called bulk insert here. Okay, like this. Observe carefully here. Okay, now I'm just giving a small task here. Okay, so here create one Excel file with rows. Read Excel file data into list of student. Okay, save this into database table. Okay, so in advanced Java or core Java, you might have worked on Excel file reading. Okay, now look at here. I'm just opening one Excel file here. Okay, this Excel file here. If you look at, just create one record here, 10 Sam, it's fee 500. Like this, I just want here. It's 11. Okay, J 600. It's a 12. Okay, Syed, it's actually 700. This data, whatever the data here we have, okay, this data, convert this into list. It's a list of student objects. Okay, then use a method that is actually called repo dot, use a method called save all, and pass this list that will be inserted data into database. That's a task. Okay, so how to read the data into, that is Excel file, into list? That's a task for you. Okay, do this one, everyone. If you want, I'll give one hint also. You might have worked in advanced Java, same thing, nothing new here. Okay, that's actually Apache POI. Use the concept of Apache POI and just work on this one. Now, so here second method we have seen, that is actually called save all. Okay, next let me continue here. Go to CRUD repository, save method done, and save all method done here. Look at the method name called find by ID. Find by ID, and that returns actually optional. Before going to find by ID, look at the return type optional. Optional is a class introduced in JDK 1.5, sorry, 1.8. Okay, this class purpose is only one, to avoid null pointer exception. Okay, just I'm explaining a small code here. Okay, string s is equals to some value comes at runtime. Okay, so just I'm writing sysout s dot length. Just I'm writing like this. Observe carefully here. If s is hello or s is hi, now tell me what is the output here? What is the output of this one? Yeah, it's a 2, right? 1 and 2, two characters are there. Now s is equals to null. Now tell me what is the output of this one? What is the output of this one? No, it's not error, it's exception. It's exception. It's actually null pointer exception. In core Java, you might have worked here. Okay, null pointer exception. Okay. Now here what we need to do, we have to avoid the exception. Don't handle. Okay, we can do two things. Handle exception. Okay, by using try catch blocks. No, I don't want to handle. I just want to avoid exception. How to avoid? Okay, prevention is better than cure. Something here like this. Yes, not equal to null, then only call this length. Okay, so you will never get any null pointer exception. Okay, this is the better code. We don't know what is the value of s here. At runtime, it is going to come here like this. If it comes from the database or UI, this is a better code here. Understood this, everyone here? Line number, that is actually 226. Why I wrote this line, you understood this one here? Okay, this line is actually going to avoid the null pointer exception. Okay, now you may write or may not write. Okay, you may write or may not write. Okay, so Java set a standard that is called optional. Optional made every time we do checking, you don't worry. Okay, for example, there is a method called is present. Is present, it is actually checking null or not. They made a standard here. Or you check is equals to null or not equal to null. Anything is fine. Is empty. Your value is equals to null or not. If it is present, then only you can read here. Okay, use a method called get. Get is a method that reads the value. If it is null, it will throw an exception here. No such element exception. Okay, and this is internally handled by them here. They says, okay, you just read the object if it is actually that is actually present or not here. Okay, so actual logic is find by id. Okay, this method, if we give one id, it may return object or it may return null. Okay, whether it is an object or null, it returns in the form of optional. Why optional? To avoid null pointer exception. Okay, first I'm giving the concept of jdk here, then we'll come to data jpa. Yeah, sir, I know you might have worked already in core Java. Some people is there who did not actually know this. For them, I'm explaining. Yeah, very good. If you know already, fine, no problem. Some people will be there, right? JDK 1.8. Yeah, it's a core Java concept only. Optional is a class added in JDK 1.8. Okay, this class is used to store result of a method which may return data or null. This is used to avoid direct data read, which may throw null pointer exception. So use optional standard and call methods like is present or is empty. Okay, you no need to write here. They already provided and get methods. Okay, so they actually provide as a standard here. Now observe here. This is a concept actually optional. Okay, optional is actually used. Okay, remember this is not for developers, sir. This is to who actually creating the framework. Okay, they are saying to a framework, you're directly returning the value, program is not checking null, and they actually facing the problem. Okay, you do one thing, you provide as a standard as a optional, then programmer will definitely call one of these methods, then they are going to read the data. Okay, it's something like it's not to one direct person here. Okay, so for example, consider, okay, this actually provider and consumer here. Okay, they are providing some data, they are providing the data, okay, which may be null. So programmer is directly using the data. If it's null, okay, what programmer is getting actually here is actually null pointer exception. Okay, while providing the data, I said no, 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 a service provider, okay, you did mistake. Okay, programmer is actually did not check any null, directly they are using the data. You do one thing, this data you keep in the process of optional. Who actually creating the framework, for them it is actually instruction. Okay, if you provide like this, then definitely what programmer will do here, okay, at the time of reading the optional is going to check data exist or not. Okay, now this actually for programmer. Okay, now if exist read, like that they actually making here. Okay, optional is a standard given for service provider, so that programmer is also following. Okay, instead of this we can also call framework creator. Okay, understand here. So you are directly not following, so we are just giving a standard to framework creator, so they are actually following the optional, then finally you are actually doing the same. Okay, understand. Okay, whatever the method that we are calling here, okay, whatever the methods that we are calling here, these are actually predefined, right? Okay, for them who actually wrote these methods, okay, for them standard is given, automatically you are also following. Now let me just continue here. Observe. Now just come to method number 3 here. It's a find by id. It takes id primary key, returns object in the form of optional. Now look at this one. This method is used to fetch one row data based on primary key value given. Okay, if given id exists in db, then object is returned, else null. Okay, either object or null is given through optional. Okay, now let me just show here how it is going to be written programming. Yeah, you can write your customized exception also. I'll show that later even. Okay, now look at carefully. There I'm writing it's a repo dot use a method called find by id. Okay, pass record number something like 1, which returns actually optional of type employee. It's a opt or any name you can give here. If you want to read one row values, okay, read one row data. Okay, now here we have to write if opt dot is present or is empty, however you just take here. Now opt dot get is to read the actual data here, is present is checking null or not. Null checking is they are doing here, they made as a standard. Now read the actually employee object here like this and sys out. Okay, else condition just I'm writing here, of course not required. data not found. Okay, now run this application. Now look at here, printing the data has come. Let me just give record number like 108 and run this application here. Observe carefully. First select query is executed. First select query is executed. Resultant data, it is actually converting into optional object. If the option is actually null, okay, so it's actually checking is present. Is present is a method which is checking not equal to null. Okay, it's checking not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, yes, you can read the object. Else, okay, you can just print the data here. Okay, let me show some graphical format here, how it is going to be. Look at carefully. This is EMP tab. Okay, it's a EID, ENAME, and ESAL. Record number 101 is there. It's a 3.3. Okay, now here when you write something here, repo.find by ID and just passing 101. Okay, now this row is actually converted to one object. Okay, and that actual object is placed in another object that is called optional. This actual object which is having data. This optional object. Okay, this is a design given by data JPA. Okay, now first check it is actually value. Our object is actually value. Okay, is this value present or not? Here you have to check here, value not equal to null, then only read the value. Okay, here we are just writing here. Okay, so that's opt dot is present or not. Okay, what it is doing internally, is value not equal to null or not? If yes, okay, read object. How to read the object? By using opt dot get. Get is actually returning the value. By checking this code here, if it is true, then only read the object, else don't read. Okay, very simple, sir. Checking null or not. See here, is not equal to null, not equal to null, then read. Okay, if it is null, it's a not null, then read. If it's a null, don't read. Okay, so here this option is a class introduced by JDK 1.8. That standard is followed by data JPA. Okay, so Sun Microsystem, now the part of Oracle, they provided here, and that is Spring framework, that is Spring Boot, they followed. Programmer is just following the both instruction and writing the code. Okay, so already, for example, state government just they issued a rule like, okay, when you're going with a bike, okay, so always go to left side, and when the red signal is there, you have to stop. Okay, so why should I follow? Government gave the rule that you have to follow here same way. Why? So to avoid some accidents and all, to gain a proper process. Here also same. Optional is a concept given by Sun Microsystem. Okay, that is implemented, that is followed by, that is Spring Boot data JPA. Programmer, you just follow the same instruction. Why? What is the advantage? To avoid null pointer exception. Okay, so they made a standard here. Without this, you can't write it. Okay, I hope you got this point here. It's a runner class code. Just I'm giving here. No, this is not new concept. It's a core Java concept only. But here just you might not be knowing. I'm just explaining. Okay. I said already in the beginning, some core Java concepts required. If you don't know, I'll explain, because no other way, right? Okay. I won't give all, sir. I'll give what are required. Now let us just continue here. This one we discussed here. This actually here. Yeah, practice the same, not an issue here. In place of employee, you take student and just practice here. That's not issue. Okay, they made as a standard. Here also they are doing not null check only. They made as a standard. They made no, definitely you have to do this. Okay, here also they are doing not null check only. Observe carefully. Here also they are doing not null check only. They simply made as a standard. You may or may not do, but in this case you have to do it. That is a simple point. Okay, now let us just continue here. Next operation here. Observe carefully. Okay, there is a method called exist by id. Okay, exist by id. Okay, so one record is provided. Generally, instead of exist by id, exist by code and exist by email, exist by mobile numbers, that we generally do. But here this method is there, and I'll show this. Okay, for example, record number 10 is provided. Is 10 exist or not in the database table? I want to know. Okay, it internally uses a concept called count. Okay, it's actually uses concept called count here. Whether given record exists or not, it is going to check here. Okay, generally query looks like here. Select count of some id from the table, some emp tab where id is equals to that value. Okay, whether given id exists or not here. Now here I just want to use the same method here. Observe carefully. Exist by id is a method which takes id and returns the boolean. Okay, this method is used to check given id exist or not in db table. Okay, using sample sql like. Okay, exist by id here, we are just calling this method. Now just come to runner class here. Okay, I'm just deleting this one to make it easy. Okay, now here just I'm writing repo dot exist by id. I'm just passing record number 1. 1 means first record inserted, it's a 1, 2 and 3 it's inserted, fine. Okay, so that is actually returns actually boolean type. Just I'm printing result. You can just pass any number, that's not an issue here. Okay, now run this application and see here, it's a true. See the concept, select count of, it's actually checking here. All these methods you might have worked in Hibernate or Spring ORM. Just I'm repeating here how they are working here. Okay, very simple point here is in Spring or Hibernate, you used to write this method logic manually. Okay, in Spring Boot, it says actually it is actually automated. Okay, that logic is predefined. You can see here, logic is predefined. That is only major concept here. Okay, so this is sample logic here. It returns the boolean type. Just I'm giving a runner class here like this. Okay, so this is a method called exist by id here we used. Now let me continue here. Okay, I'll show one more method here. There is a method called find all. Okay, find all is used to fetch all the records from database. Okay, for example, 10 records are there, 20 records are there, fetch all, everything. Okay, that it is actually iterable type here. You can see here, iterable nothing but collection. Remember, whenever you see here iterable of type T. Okay, simple SQL query. If you want to see here, select star from EMP tab. A simple SQL query, generated query looks like this. Okay, this method is used to fetch all rows from DB table and returns data as list collection. Sorry, iterable collection. There is one more method also there that returns list collection. We'll go for that later. As of now, iterable type. Okay. Now here, just three records inserted, right? I just want to fetch this three. Okay. Repo dot use a method called find all. Okay. Find all actually returns the iterable type. It's actually employee. EMPs. Okay. So you have to print the data in a different ways. Okay. So iterable data is there, right? You can print in a different ways here. Okay. Using for each loops. Okay. That's your interest, how you want to print here. Okay. Or iterator here. You can just get the iterator and you can print. Different possibilities I show here. It's a ITR, iterator. It's a process of cursor that is to get the link and print the data. So you can just print the data here like this. Just I'm printing a dash line, you will understand. Okay, observe carefully here. Select query is executed and data is printing. Okay, so here if you look at this EMPs type, if you want to know here, get loss. Look at this type, internal type here, it's a list. Okay, so that is a default implementation that they are using internal here. That's a list representation. That's the point I said initially. Okay, so here you can see it's a find all method. You can see which returns the list implementation internally. That logic is provided by simple JPA repository. There is a possibility of getting the duplicate data sometime. Okay, for example, get only student marks from the table. Okay, only students, then there is a possibility of the data fetching here. So they just provide in such a way here. Okay, if you look at here, it's a runner class code here. Look at this. Find all, fetching the iterable and use the iterator. Instead of using iterator, okay, we can use JDK 1.8 feature here and lambda expression. Do you remember at the starting classes, I just explained lambda expression. Initial starting runner class explanation. Yes, correct. Same way. Just I'm using here EMPs dot. Just I'm using a method that is called for each. For each is a method which takes consumer, where consumer is a functional interface. Okay, having a method called accept. See how many parameters we have. We have only one parameter, right? So I'm just passing the same. One parameter means parents is not required. It's a E. Okay, what you want to do? Method logic. Okay, system dot out dot println of E. You can write like this using lambda. JDK 1.8 feature. Yes, core Java concept only. Just I'm showing here. Yes, sir, core Java concept only, but I'm just showing here. see here printing one more time. Okay. So in core Java, yes, there also you might have seen it's a collection of objects how to print using lambda expression. Okay. Now one more core Java concept you might have seen there. Just I'm showing that one also. All possibilities I just want to show, nothing else. Whatever you just use, this is just printing only. Okay. So using method reference. Okay, there I'm writing here using method references. System dot out colon colon println. This called method reference. 2 times colon concept method reference. Okay. Now yes, here also data will be printed here. You can see. Look at here. Okay. Lambda expressions and method references is a concept added in 1.8 feature here. If you don't know these concepts here, I'll just give a reference link. Please go through that. If you know, you're happy. If you don't know, just I'm giving a reference link. Please go through that. Okay. Java 8 new features. Just go through this one. Okay, observe carefully here. Observe carefully here. Here I'm using the concept of find all method. Understand this is a data JPA programming here. Okay, that returns the iterable type here. Okay, so this one is actually returning the data in the form of iterable. It's internally it's a list collection, printing different ways. Okay, print using iterator. Using iterator, which is added in 1.2. JDK 1.2. Or using lambda expression, using method references. Okay, so these are the different ways of printing the data only. This actually reading the data. This actually database call. These are all just printing the data only here. Okay, so this is a method called find all here. Okay, there is a method find all. You can see that's actually fetching the data and printing the different ways. Now let me continue here. So we have seen find all method here. Okay, find all by ID. You can see iterable of ID. Okay, now I'm asking a small question. It's a mostly asked interview question also. If you know, give answer here. If you don't know, fine, I'll explain. Okay, I just want to select random rows from the database table. Select record number. Okay, write a select query to fetch record number 14, 36, 54, 89, and 65, 64. Okay, these records I want to select. Select these rows only. Can you just tell me how to select these rows? By using which operator or which concept? Yeah, where class we write, not only where class sufficient. No, it's not order by. I just want to select those rows. No, it's not AND operator. Yeah, it's a using in operator. Okay, SQL query looks like this. This is actually in operator. Very good. Okay, so here if you do in operator, you will get the data. Same thing is done by using this method. Find all by ID. Okay, in operator. Now it's a method number I just gave. It's a 5. Find all by ID. But you have to pass multiple values, right? It's also collection type, iterable of IDs, and returns iterables of objects. Okay. This method is used to fetch data from DB table using in operator. Okay. In operator here. Okay. You can pass values as a iterable. It's a collection type and it will return the same. Okay. So here I'm just writing the same. I'm just writing this one. This code I just gave, runner class, removing all other records. Now look at, I'm just inserting few records here and fetching the data. Okay, repo dot find all by IDs. There I'm just writing arrays dot as a list. Record number 1, record number 3, record number 5. Just I'm writing like this. Okay, which returns again iterable T. It's a employee. Printing the data. Okay, just run this application and see. Okay, it's actually, you can see select query at last in operator. 3 values I passed, right? 3 question marks. It's a SQL query. Question mark indicates value comes at runtime. Like this. Okay. This actually find all by ID here, a sample code here. It's a in operator. It's a runner class code. Yeah, these are all basic operations only. We had to discuss a lot. Okay, we are at CRUD repository only. JPA, paging, sorting. Okay, custom queries. We have so many things, not to worry. Okay, now let me continue here. Okay, there is a method. Yeah, I'll stop here. There is a method that is actually count method is there. Okay, I want to know number of records that exist in the database table. Okay, just I want to know the count only. Then simply you can use this method count. Okay, for example, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records are there, right? I just want to know the count of this data. Just method call count. Run this application. Look at the count here, it's a 5. Select count of. Look at the query here, it's a count. Okay, if you want to count number of records in the database table here, there is a method called count, which is actually long. To count number of rows in database table, use this method. A simple runner class code. Model class and remaining all same. Okay, a sample code here. Are you clear up to this, everyone? Okay. Still, I did not explain the concept of proxy. Okay, that is still pending. Proxy concept I'll explain here. Okay, that had to come here. Hanumant, still that concept has not come. That will come here. Custom queries still did not provided here. How to read by name, how to read by salary still not came. That will come here. Proxy concept also still not done. I'll explain later. Okay. Just practice up to this. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, continuation we see in tomorrow's class. Biswal, new batches will take some time because I'm already busy with 6 slots. Okay, if it started, I'll let you know. Vinith, I said already, download latest STS and make sure having proper internet connection. That is only problem. Either internet connection or old STS. Only two problems. Okay, when this uh, boot version updated, keys will not come. Not only for you, even same problem for me. Latest STS, okay, and update the download latest STS, then only. It takes some time. New batches will take some time. Okay, on 3rd October, I just gave the notes. Please follow the same instructions to do programming. Okay, you will get small mistake also, it won't work here. Sarup, not me. Admin only should give permission actually. Not me. Admin should only give permission. I'll just upload only notes. Please send an email to HR at Naresh IT. Just CC to me. Yes, I added annotation at the no R constructor. No, no. Send a email to HR at Naresh IT. I'll just talk to them. Yeah, all R's constructor, everything added. Required arg, all R, everything added. You can see here. Now in today's session, I just added everything. How many constructors you want, you can just add based on your requirement only. Simply don't add all. What is your requirement?